Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Khalil Doheny, and I'm Director of Content Marketing at Digital Niche Agency. Today's webinar is for Renoun skis. And before we jump into things, I want to play a quick video. And then after that video, we're going to go straight into the webinar and get this thing going. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll play a video here.
There are so many skis in the world. There's one for every skiing style, snow conditions, terrain. It's endless. So how do you build something different? You start from the beginning. As engineers, we looked at this with fresh eyes and a new perspective, and we peeled back the layers beyond the wood cores, beyond the ski shapes, beyond the layup materials. That's all stuff you've heard before. We came across this non-Newtonian polymer, polyboride dimethylsiloxane, which is just a fancy way of saying a material which feels stiffer as it's exposed to vibrations, right? It just adapts to snow conditions. It's one of those things that we knew was going to work, but it still took us 4 years of R&D of different layups and formulations to find the right one. We knew what it could do, we just had to perfect it. So much of a ski's performance is based on its stiffness, right? It's one of the most important attributes of a ski. This polymer changes how stiff or soft a ski feels automatically in real time. We developed a process for embedding this material inside the actual core of a pair of skis. And by applying varying levels of vibration, we were able to model the core's reaction time and flexibility. It's the shape of the molecule, which under normal conditions feels soft and pliable, yet as vibrations increase, feels more and more stiff and stable. Outside in the snow, the results were even more profound. There are times you want a stiff and stable ski, and there are times you want a soft and playful ski. This polymer bridges that gap and gives you a little bit of both. We're the only ones to do this and the first ones to ever put this inside of a pair of skis. Every ski vibrates, and as you ski faster and faster, the ski shakes more. That's just physics. That's how the ski world works, but not anymore.
And then, hello, welcome, Cyrus. Welcome to the webinar today. We are really excited to have you guys here. And before we jump into things, you guys want to just give a background to yourselves and really, what this webinar is for.
Sure. Thanks, Khalil. I want to introduce myself. I'm Rob Golden. I'm the new CEO of Renoun. And we couldn't be more delighted to be with you this afternoon. And we're really excited to talk about what we're doing, what we're planning on with Renoun. But before we get too far into that, I want to introduce the voice of the video sitting next to me, who probably needs no introduction. But
Hey everyone, I'm Cyrus, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm the founder of Renoun. Started Renoun 10 years ago and have been working here ever since. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you everybody for showing up. We had a huge turnout, I'm really excited to share a little bit about what I've been working on and how Rob and his team are coming on board and where we're going to take this.
Great, thanks, Cyrus. One of the things I wanted to do is introduce a little bit about my background and how did we get here? So when the NTV New Technology Ventures team and the Golden Opportunity Capital Group, we were in the market. We were looking for entrepreneurial-led companies that had both the ability to scale and a strong digital backbone. And we were not looking for a ski company. That was not where we thought we were going to land. But I will say that, my background, my personal background for the last 15 years has been helping Fortune 100 companies, Bank of America, American Express, Visa, companies like that in both the financial services and the insurance space, really turn into develop their digital business model, but in particular, their customer-focused business model. So that's my background, particularly from an optimization of marketing standpoint. And so when we started looking at Renown, at first we said, no, we don't want to. The ski industry, holy cow, that's a very crowded industry. I'm a skier, but it wasn't my ideal to go and find a ski company. But the more we got to know Cyrus, the more we got to understand the backbone and what the basis of Renown is built on, we started to say, yes, this is meeting the criteria we're looking for. And we'll talk more about that as we get into where our plans are jointly together. But I thought I'd ask Cyrus a question for a second. Cyrus, you've been at this, you started this is your baby.
Yeah.
Why did you think about, at least selling part of the ownership of the company? Because Renown is you.
Yeah, that's a good question, Rob. I think, so I started Renown, kind of the classic thing, right? In my dorm room, well, technically right next to my dorm room. I started this thing, and when I figured out Vibe Stop, I was like, they basically dropped out of college to pursue this thing. And it's been a wild ride, and I've learned a lot, and we've always grown. And at the end of the day, I realized though that where I wanted to take Renown and where my vision for the company and what I could do by myself, I just couldn't get there. Most people don't really realize this, but Renown, people think that Renown has 10, maybe 15, 20 employees. It's two. It's myself, or was two. There's myself and one of their full-time employees. So I realized that with that firepower, could only go so far. And so when we first met, there was a lot of agreement with like just the approach to the ski industry. Like you said, Rob's, he's a skier, but he really comes from the business world and understands the business side of things. And, I was wearing a lot of hats, and I'm proud of how far we got. But at the end of the day, to get to the next level, I need some help, and here we are.
And that's where we step in. So anyway, Cyrus, I think we have had a great partnership so far, but I want to talk. We have a few slides we'd like to go over, and hopefully we can go through this quickly, take a lot of questions, because we want this to be a dialogue or interactive in particular. But I think, Cyrus, before we can get to step one in this discussion, I think I'm going to ask you to explain what the heck is Vibe Stop.
Yeah.
What does it do for skis? Why does it make a difference?
Yeah. Great question. So yeah, Vibe Stop is the backbone that Renown has been built on. It's the technology that goes inside of every single pair of skis. And I don't want to get into the physics side of it. If you guys want to, we can have an offline conversation about the nitty-gritty and the molecular shapes and everything. But at its core, at its basis, Vibe Stop increases the stability of a ski. It decreases vibrations and lets you do more with the same envelope, with the same package. So, like if you want to build a ski that's really good on ice and goes really fast, it's called a race ski, has a bunch of metal in it, it's super stiff, and that's what people race on. It's awesome. And if you want to build a playful ski, like a park ski or a powder ski, it's softer and much more poppy and playful. Historically, if you want to do one, you kind of have to choose one or the other or somewhere in between. Vibe Stop allows you to build something and then actually have a broader range of usability. You can't go from one side of the spectrum all the way to the other, but you can play within there. And so Vibe Stop is literally the first time you can actually adapt the stability of the ski to the conditions. And one of the things that we were talking about.
Well, you're saying it has a brain.
Yeah, right. We were talking about too, is I came at this from a technological engineering perspective. And, okay, increased stability, broaden the envelope of usability of all the products, like all that stuff. But one of the things that I started hearing last year as we started selling more and more skis, and you brought back up last week, was the amount of effort, energy, the fatigue element.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Cyrus, I might be a little bit older than you. However, I think I represent a lot of our customers out there as well. And one of the things that I was expecting I was expecting the stability. I was expecting to test the vibration. What I wasn't expecting is that I could ski longer that day. A couple of days before, I was on another pair of skis, and my legs were killing me. Mm-hmm. And because I've only skied 2 days this year so far. The day I skied on Renown skis, and it wasn't until our CFO mentioned something, I said, you're right. I didn't even think about my legs today. Mm-hmm. So I think the impact it can't be understated that the impact that Vibe Stop has on your joints and on your body and on your muscle. So for older guys like me, that's important.
And I had a customer, I think it was last year, we came in and or pair of customers, and they're like, Cyrus, between the two of us, we have 8 joints being replaced. And like we can ski again, and we can ski more than 4 runs before we have to call it a day. And that was, again, like I came at this from a decrease stability or increased stability, decreased vibrations. But what we're hearing is something I think is way more interesting.
So let's talk about the skis, Cyrus.
Yeah.
You know, I think what's really important is before we get into the business dynamics of this, what is it? Why did you design the lineup that we have? What makes them important? And we'll talk about why we're different.
Yeah. So, okay, to start, just remember, I just want to point this out. Not everybody knows this. 90% of skis sold in North America, 90% are under 100 millimeters underfoot. So when you see someone in line who's got 110, 120, who's crushing it and jumping off cliffs and stuff, that is awesome. That is a very small part of the market. And so when I first launched Renoun, it was with an Endurance 90, a ski that was very purposeful in the market that it was going after. And if you look at our lineup, 3/4 of them, 3/4 of our skis are below 100. And that's very, very purposeful. And even each model, not only in a holistic perspective, but each model is designed to go after a part of the market in a very specific and purposeful way.
So, you know, I had to do a lot of research on the industry because it's not where I'm coming from when I came into this. And some of the better and well-known ski companies out there, some of them have 42 different models. One that was one that I found. Some, you know, more in the 20s and the 30s. We have 6.
Yeah.
What are we missing something, or what's the why can we get away with such?
People think that like building more models is the answer to increasing your growth, and that's just not true. The other thing is because we're B2C, we're not trying to fill up a ski walls. Like most manufacturers who are going after ski shops, they have to fill every hole in the wall for the price point and the width of the ski and the type of skier. So that's why you have 20, 30, 40 plus models for these brands. So because we're B2C and because we're kind of realistic with where we want to be targeting, I mean, this product lineup is very purposeful. We could go and build more models. People always ask like, oh, Cyrus, could you build this? And it's like, yeah, we totally could. But the lineup here is very purposeful. And, you know, one of these examples is the Earhart ski, right? Like that was a product that I was really excited to bring in. Originally wasn't thrilled about having a men's and women's model lineup, but we said, okay, if we're gonna do a women's ski, it's gonna be designed by women, for women, top to bottom. And we kind of joked that literally not a single guy rode that ski until I was carrying some prototypes downhill and I had to click in a pair just to get down the hill. But yeah, it's you know, genuinely top to bottom a women's ski. And
I was going to say one of the things that I want to make sure we touch on this too, which is this gets back to the business side of this, right, and what goes into the motivation here. But 6 models, probably a lot easier on the factory. You might want to talk a little bit about our factory because I think that's critical to Renoun, Renoun's success.
So I started by building skis in the dorm rooms and in my own garage kind of stuff. And I would say this, building your own skis is really cool it's like brewing beer. It's like, you know, it's fun to brew beer for your buddy. But when you start trying to scale, it gets really, really, really hard. And so the factory that we work in now is the same one that I started working with when I made the first phone call. You know, this is now 9 years ago. And so, yeah, they're in Canada. They're just north of here, and we can drive there in a day. And we work with them now for almost a decade. So it's a great relationship, and we're teed up to scale.
And they've made the commitments to us that they can build the number of skis that we're ready to start.
We're good to go.
Scaling with.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And one thing I just want to note before I move on to the next one is women's ski. I know we don't have it this year. There's a lot of reasons for that, and it's coming back. So you know, the Earhart 88 is coming back, and we have future plans for even more beyond that.
I mean, there's no question that women are a key part of our customer base, and we're going back to make sure we're taking care of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, Cyrus, before we get more into the Renoun business and where we're going, let's look at the market for a second. And I think it's pretty obvious. If you look at the big blue North America there, that's where our skis are going. And why is that?
Yeah. So as a whole, you know, basically 1 million skis sold in North America, just shy of 4 worldwide. 97% of Renoun sales are in North America, right? So I'm be really clear that that's because we haven't tried anywhere else. And basically when it comes down to, like, me and the other person on the team, there's only so much we could do. And decided, hey, let's go to the backyard, let's do the stuff we can do with the best margin first. And so the reason why we don't have sales elsewhere is because we literally don't target anyone outside of even just the US, let alone Canada.
I mean, we're obviously not trying to be a ski company that sells 1 million skis or cover the US market. We're not even trying to sell 1/10 of that, right? Quite frankly, to be successful. We can be very successful, selling 10 to 20,000 skis compared to what we did last year, which was we hit profitability at 1,100 pairs of skis. And so we don't need to take over the market.
Yeah.
And I think that's critical. But the other side of this is we haven't even scratched the surface of anything outside of the US. And there's good reasons for that, Cyrus. I mean, with 2 people, what are you going to do?
Right.
But now we can start to use capital and look outside the US. And clearly one of the things we have to think about too is diversification of our manufacturing. One of the problems with going to Europe is clearly the fact that the distribution costs are high. So if we can diversify our manufacturing and also lower our distribution costs, we can take on Europe.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, Asia is the fastest growing ski market in the world.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that, like, for me, as I get freed up, and don't have to wear as many hats, is all right, my job is going to be finding the right factory. Going to Europe, how do we get a factory in the backyard so that we're not shipping skis across the ocean, and turnaround time, cost is all very, very important for that.
So let's talk about the other brands.
Yes.
I think if I run the webinar, I'd like to know kind of, this is a crowded marketplace.
Yep.
I said it when we started.
Yeah.
And it's daunting when you look at the number of ski companies. The video started with there's so many skis in the world, right? So I think it'd be helpful if people got your perspective, and I can certainly share mine, but where do we sit in that marketplace?
Yeah.
Can we even compete?
Absolutely. So just the kind of high level stuff here. So we've got the kind of big box brands. These guys are operating on legacy business models, to pretty tight margins. For reference, a ski from one of these companies is going to touch anywhere from 3 to 6 people's hands before it ends up in the customer's hands. So everybody's going to be taking a little bit of margin along the way to pay for their business. And so by the time it ends up in your hands, it's passed through a bunch of people's warehouses and or distribution channels and stuff like that. So they got tight margins and then a really hard feedback loop. So these companies don't really know what's really selling for at least a year before they get kind of feedback from the marketplace. Then there's the lookalike brands, and basically these guys have the same business model, but they kind of trade the volume card for more of like the rad and cool factor. And there's kind of only so much you can do with that. Like, I'm 33 now actually, and as much as I wish I was like dropping cliffs and stuff, I mean, it's great to watch those videos, right? I love watching the guys launch themselves off a 40-foot jump and come down a 60-degree pitch from the top of some crazy mountain somewhere. But 1/10 of 1/10 of 1% of skiers can do that. Yeah.
And our customers, like watching that too.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure we're taking care of our customers.
Yeah. And the reality is that's a pretty niche market and requires constantly being the coolest and person in line. Then the last one is the D2C brand. So Renoun was the first exclusive B2C brand in North America. And since we started, there's been a lot of people coming up behind us, which is awesome. I think as a whole, rising tide lifts all boats. And I'm excited to see the new players come into this space here. The reality though is I've got 10 years of history. Like Renoun has been there and done that. And while we have more learning to do, of course, we always will. It's a bit of a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
So,
and I can attest to that because coming from large organizations, where the problem is only magnified, it takes a long time. And even if you have a extremely big staff to tackle it. And when you're just starting out, there is a big learning curve.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the market, giving you my spin on this, I think, and when we look back at the opportunity in terms of the addressable market size, it's the big brands and the lookalike brands that are most vulnerable to digital disruption. We'd love it if the emerging brands are successful. That proves out our business model as well.
Yeah.
And I think as we kind of look to where we're going, it's very clear that the industry trade articles are clear about this, but skiers are no different than anybody, any consumer today. They want to have a relationship with their brands. They don't want their brands to ignore them. And they want to make sure that their brands stand for what they stand for, and that is the backbone of Renoun. And your perspective is really important.
Yeah, and so like these big brands, like the big guys and the lookalikes. I mean, they have no idea who the end consumer is, right? In a few fringe cases, they do, but try calling your thought process here. Try calling the skis that you currently ride. Try giving that company a call and ask them, tell them who you are and see what they say. They have no idea who's on their skis, what models they're on, which ones they're liking, which ones they're returning, kind of thing. Renoun knows all of that. We know all of our customers by the first name. If someone calls us up and says, "Hey, I bought a pair of skis 5 years ago. It's an Endurance, 88, and it's 177. I'm looking to go to a Citadel." We can make a recommendation specifically to them.
In fact, we could say, "Hey, maybe wait, because we're changing the Citadel next year." Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell anybody. Sorry, but not radical.
Right. Yeah. No, it's really good.
So I think that is the basis of what we want to communicate next, which is where we go. What is the business model for this company, and what are our priorities? So first of all, I think from the last discussion, we can see that we've gotten tremendous feedback from our net capital investors so far, just in the comments that they put with their investments, that the Renoun skier experience creates this ongoing bond, this fanatical bond with our customers, and we're so proud of that. And clearly, once a skier steps onto a Renoun ski, they want everybody to know, and they let people know. So that's critical, and where we're going with this, and as I said, is to develop a customer-focused business model. Now, I want to make a distinction here, because direct to consumer is not a business model. That's a distribution channel. Okay. A business model is being customer focused. Yes, we have a direct to consumer business channel, and that is the majority of our business, but that won't be the only business channel we follow going forward. And we're doing some things to develop around that. That is a critical business channel because the margins are extremely high there, and it allows us to do other things. But, the economics and the market acceptance of Renoun are telling us that our strategy is working, and we need to move forward and scale with it. Five Stop and the skis provide that unique experience that is like buying a luxury car. And I think what I see in the ski industry is they treat skis like a commodity, but $1,000 purchase is not a commodity purchase. You're not buying oranges, you're not buying apples. So we want to make sure that our customers feel like they're taken care of. We personally know our customers, as you said, Cyrus. We know them by their first names. We know what they skied on last year. We know what they bought from us in the past. And we use that to communicate with them. And we're open to communicating them, which is the third point. We want that feedback. We're going to do things like build our customer advisory board, so that as we develop as that one brand in the industry that's truly customer focused, people will understand that Renoun is different. So what's our execution plan? So I think there's three priorities right now. Number one is we know who our best customers are, and we're going to go out and find more like them. But from a pure digital marketing standpoint, this is now I start putting on my hat of how I would look at a larger organization. I don't think we're doing as good a job as we could be about nurturing our customers through that sales process. But we know who our customers are. They're successful men and women. They're professionals. They don't want to compromise on their products. They don't compromise on their cars. They don't want to compromise on their skis either. And they don't want them to be treated like commodities. They love to ski. Skiing is a big part of their life in the winter, whether it's with their family, whether it's traveling, whether they've got an Icon Pass or an Epic Pass, which quite frankly have changed the market so that people are encouraged to travel and go to other mountains. Skiing is a big part of their life. And they want to engage with their brands, and they want their brands to engage with us. So we know our customers. We know our customers. We believe better than anybody knows their customers in this industry. We got to do a better job of finding more like them. So this is the next, this is the next block and tackling thing that was quickly obvious, right? So we had over 400,000 qualified leads come in the top of our funnel through our website. That's amazing for a company this small, 400,000. But the problem, and sorry, this is not a criticism of you. You know what you knew. But the problem is, 99.9% of those leads were leaking out because we don't have the right nurturing programs in place, and we can fix that. That's fixable. That's what bringing the right kind of experience to the table can change. So just to put it in perspective, 1,100 skis last year, our conversion rate was 0.24%.
Yeah,
that's not admirable, and
no,
it's not
2.4%. It's 0.24%.
So
yeah,
a well-functioning, not even a high-functioning e-commerce site should be around 1%, maybe a little bit better than that. 2% would be on the higher functioning side, and anything above that would be highly functioning. If we just got to a well-functioning conversion rate, we would have sold 5,000 skis last year. So that is a critical thing that has to be fixed to drive our growth. That's blocking and tackling. That's not strategic. That's fixing existing problems. The strategic thing that we're going to change and transform is we're going to move in our business model from a purely customer acquisition focus to more of a customer retention and acquisition focus. What I see in the ski industry right now is, hey, if we sold 5,000 skis next year, we want to grow by 1,000, we have to go find 6,000 new customers. That's not the right formula for success. You need to blend both your customer acquisition with your customer retention so that a good percentage of your revenue is coming in the door that you don't have to work for. So if I put that in perspective in a cost model, our current acquisition costs are approaching $200 per acquisition. We have a great repeat customer rate, purchase rate, but those costs are just going up, and the industry's costs are just going up if that's the way to look at it. However, if our goal, which it is to generate at least 30% of our income from repeat business annually, then what do? We spend on customer experience. We can drive our customer acquisition rate and our total spend down by 31% if we start focusing on customer experience and customer acquisition. And that is part of the strategy. That's an execution step, but that is exactly changing the model from being a customer acquisition driven organization, which happens I think systemically in the industry, to becoming a total customer focused organization.
And one thing just to note here, it's the repeat customer rate or repeat purchase rate here is right now it's 30-ish, 34%. We currently don't do anything to encourage that, but it's already really high. So I always get really excited about thinking about, okay, what if we actually tried, right? And so there's just so much we can do to take what already is a good one and turn it into a great one. And I know for a fact that 55% is actually very attainable with other businesses in this space. So
let's talk about the other thing that is different, and part of that strategy. Really, the goal here is to create that frictionless brand experience that drives loyalty and makes it completely easy for customers to make their next purchase. We actually want to keep our customers, and if we're not their brand for the next 3 or 4 equipment buying cycles, we've done something wrong, quite frankly. And this, we're creating concepts like Club Renoun, which we're calling it for now, which is more of a membership-driven concept that makes it very easy for customers to come back and buy the next thing. In fact, they don't even have to come back and buy it because we're going to ship them their next skis in the ski swap program. So, again, we haven't worked out all the details, but the concept is that you buy your skis 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whatever it takes, we will ship you new skis. You don't even have to think about it. And you know what? One of the things that's again a problem, the industry compromises for customers because they say, okay, we're so you the all mountain, the quiver killer ski. Why do you need to do that? Why can't you make it easier for people to buy the quiver?
Mhm.
And that's part of our strategy, and that's part of the thinking around Club Renown. You don't need to make choices. We'll make the trip. We'll help you and make it easier.
Yeah, and this membership program is built on technology, and my background, my history is technology inside of a ski, and where Rob comes in is he understands the technology and how to build these membership programs out. I don't really, and that's why you're here, and that's why we're working together to build this out.
Yeah, a critical part of that, whichever is a standard outside of the ski industry, is having a customer portal, and that's the first thing we're going to build to deliver this.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to that, and I won't. We have a limited amount of time, but I want to get to the questions. We really want to get to interact with people, but again, coming at this from the standpoint of why did we come in and take a majority stake in Renoun? Because we believe the time is right for this company. Okay, it's time to emerge from that sole entrepreneurial phase. But what happened there? Patented ski technology that nobody can duplicate, because we own the patents on non-Newtonian polymers or non-Newtonian materials in all snow sport equipment. I mean, skis, snowboards, you name it. So number two, Renoun already has best-in-class customer service, so we can just make that better. And finally, the kicker, Cyrus, congratulations, high five on this one. You reached profitability. So now we can take that forward. Look, and Renoun has 80,000 subscribers. Today, we convert 2.4% of those into customers. We can do better. We can convert 10% of those subscribers. These are people that have given us that and want to hear from us.
Yeah.
We have 220. We grew 20% again this year in new customers. We were at 1,600 at the beginning of this year. We're now at 2,200 customers total who repurchased. 34% have already repurchased skis. So, we sold 6,300 skis. So to our existing customers. So that if you do the math, you can understand. But why are we ready to scale? Manufacturing agreements are in place. We know we can scale on manufacturing. We're bringing in new experienced talent. I will count myself in there, but but the more important people are Jennifer and Yasha and Tom, the people that understand the marketing and how to fix that funnel problem, and then to NTV and GOC access to capital. But the most important thing is that we accomplished out of this transaction is Renoun has zero debt to move forward on. And I think that's a critical thing that our investors should be thinking about. Like, we're moving forward from a position of profitability, from a position of fanatical customer acceptance with zero debt and access to capital.
Is on mute there. Awesome. We do have one last video for everyone to take a look at, and then we'll jump straight into the Q&A here. Awesome. And I think before we jump into questions, Rob, Cyrus, wasn't there a giveaway that you guys did?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In fact, I guess I can announce it now too. I said I would announce it at the end. So we have been doing free ski giveaways every time we cross $100,000 threshold on net capital. The rules for the giveaway are out there, but just I'll summarize them quickly. For every $100 you contribute, you get one entry into the giveaway. And we did one when we crossed a 100,000, and we just picked the winners for the next 100,000, and without drum roll, please, our next pair of free skis are going to Devin C. from Wisconsin. And our second place, who's going to get free poles, free bindings, and a $200 discount on skis, is Reed R. from New York. And that'll be posted out on Net Capital. But we love giving skis away, so that's pretty fun.
There we go.
Thanks for
Congrats,
that
guys.
question.
Congrats, everyone.
Awesome. There is a list of questions. Let's jump straight into here. Last year, I reached out looking for a demo, a pair in Colorado before investing a lot of money. Can you share if you have a demo process?
So, and I'll let Cyrus answer, but we do not. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah. So we have a awesome basic return policy. It's called the Renoun Guarantee. You get 6 months on a pair of skis, and you can ski them up to 3 days in that period. That's
Which we're changing to 5 days.
We're changing to 5 days, and we're extremely generous with how and when skis come back. The reality is demo days, to do them right, is really hard. And with 2 people, there's no way, anyway, that there's excess capacity to execute demos properly. We're looking at some very specific and very targeted ways we can change that. But I think it's really important for people who are considering this process is the second we open that can and the second we just do the normal method, the second that happens is everybody's going to wonder, well, hey, okay, how about this? I can't tell you the number of times that when I used to do demo days, and I slept in the back of my truck and drove around the country, and I did this for 2 years, that we'd be in Aspen and someone's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool to be in Aspen. I'm not going to be there this weekend, but can you be back next weekend? And I'm like, no, I'm driving a steamboat. And they're like, well, why can't you come back? I'm like, it's just not possible. So it's really hard.
I think the point is clear. We have to migrate to that, to have a model that satisfies that. And we have some ideas in the context of our customer advisory panel, and building customer ambassadors. But no question, we have to think through that, because that's a big factor in somebody's decision process of whether they buy a ski or not. And we get it.
And then how many skis have you sold to date per year since starting?
The number was on the slide. It was 6,340. Well, and I rounded. I can't remember if I rounded up or down, but 40-ish.
And then do you find the unisex model like Citadel have a more female or male customer base?
Yeah, certainly more male, and that's strictly because they're longer. The Citadel, as it currently is for this year, and that may or may not be changing for next year, but has always skewed a pretty long. I'm 6'6". I am not the target customer, and previously I have built skis more for the longer side of things, so that will be changing.
Yeah, and one of the things that that I told Cyrus that from the minute we started talking about skis is the Citadel is a great ski. The only reason why not as many women are on it because it's not short enough for the average size woman, and we are actually making a shorter version.
They're already being produced right now as we speak,
and that will be available next year.
Yeah.
And then do you have any plans to expand to the snowboarding market? And then would the Vibe Stop technology excel on the physics of a snowboard?
Great question. Again, this is something that Cyrus had been thinking about. And when we came in, we said, we have to do that. Yeah. We have talked about building up a prototype snowboard this year so it can be tested next winter and next ski season. We do believe that the Vibe Stop, and we've talked to quite a few snowboarders, we believe that Vibe Stop will have an impact on snowboards. Cyrus is not a snowboarder, so
I think it's just like we want to make sure if we're going to do this, we're going to make sure we do it right. And the factory Utopia that we work with for the last 10 years now, they've built snowboards in the past, so it's certainly within their scope. And there's many other factories out there who could do it. We want to make sure that we're not just throwing out a snowboard because there's someone who will buy it. We want to make sure we do a really good job. And that's part of the fun thing for me is as I go back more to the branding, the product side of things, I get to focus on going forward too. So
I mean, I would project that the 26-27 season would be our first season to come out with a snowboard if everything goes well. That would be the target.
Yep.
And I know you guys mentioned this a little bit during the beginning of the presentation, but has Cyrus sold all of his equity in the company? If so, are there any mechanisms such as revenue shares that retains his skin in the game?
No, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
Cyrus has not sold all his equity in the company. In fact, has a significant piece of equity in the company, and we have two other things to make sure he's happy and will be dedicated to Renown going forward. One is we have created an employee option plan, which all employees for the company will be eligible for, and on top of that. Our we will be developing the bonus plan. I can tell you that without going into specific numbers, our philosophy, I call it the Ben and Jerry's philosophy. Our salaries, our base salaries for the management team are all the same. They're all low, and it's the only way that the management team or anyone in this company is going to make money is if the company makes money. Uh, it's a little bit better than a living wage.
Yeah.
First, I'd like to congratulate you both on this endeavor, and secondly, your dedication to the customer service is admirable. How will you continue to maintain that level of service as you grow the business?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I talked about the fact that we're going to put together a customer advisory board, and that will have rotating membership on it. So and again, coming from the background I come from, voice of the customer is critical, and you have to have that. Now we have great anecdotal information from our customers. And what Cyrus has built here is great. We need to now institutionalize that and build that feedback into our product design, into our design of Club Renown, and all that. So we are very serious, and that you can't have a customer focused business model if you don't have the voice of the customer as part.
Yeah, and just a quick example is we started a Mounts and Rep program last year, maybe 2 years ago, and it was awesome. But back to the time, like Yasha and I just didn't have enough capacity to really flesh that thing out. And that's definitely one of those things where, like, wow, if we could keep that program that going, that feedback loop alive, which we now can, I'm just really excited to do that.
All right. And then how to overcome the unknown experience of VibeStop?
Great question. It's really hard. I think one of my number one focuses for next year is going to be how do we communicate the benefits of VibeStop to somebody who has never, regardless of skiing or whatever, but had never been on one of our exact skis. There's a lot of ideas, from like, we want to put a microphone on the ski and that literally measure the, sounds, obviously vibration, to measure the actual sound coming from a ski with VibeStop and without it. There's a bunch of other demos demos being like the material itself, showing how that stuff will work. And some people might have found, I've got some videos out there from 10 years ago, but showing the stuff. So there's a lot we can do.
And I think one of the things from my standpoint, and this is where selectively we would look at third-party help. This is a case where I don't think we do a good job explaining really what VibeStop is or selling it to the market. And a branding agency and a branding project would really help us. A brand positioning project would really help us that, because it's not that it doesn't work; it works great, and I can attest to that. Which I was skeptical, by the way, before I guess before I got on the skis, but we really don't. And no criticism. No. I mean, two people wearing tons of hats and not, trying to just keep the brand of Renown it's really about how do we really get people to understand what VibeStop is.
And I think once they do figure that out, they stay with us. Like our money back guarantee is amazing. It's awesome. It's very loose. It's only 2% of the people ever send their skis back. So, once they do experience it, they stay with us. And we got exactly to your question. We need to figure out how to how do you pull that back a little further up the channel.
I actually had a friend say you should got to stop calling it VibeStop because vibration is not the issue. You should call it stable more. More stable, because that's what people care about.
Yeah.
And then this question: I am new to the private investment world. Can you explain how investment in your company will work? How will the investor see profit, and how long will something like this take?
Okay, so a good question. And, you know, it'd be very careful here about, I cannot really make forward looking statements that way, but this question actually came up on the discussion board too, and Rick Golden answered it and I thought he did a great job, and I'll paraphrase that answer. Essentially, you know, our investors will make money as this company scales, and the profits for this company also scale and grow. And that will become, so if you, a share right now is at a dollar a share, and as the company grows and as the valuation of the company grows, that value of that share will grow. And yes, at some point in the future, when it's appropriate, because we are, you know, the Renoun Holdings team is coming at this from, you know, a experienced investment standpoint, and with experienced equity investors and equity managers. We do have a horizon, or won't say what that is, but a reasonable horizon for a liquidity event. And when that liquidity event happens, you know, what that means is, and the only way we'd want that to happen is if is when the value of the shares are worth more than what they start.
Yeah.
I know that was a really lukewarm answer to a tough question, but it's all I could actually say under the regulations of crowdfunding.
Yeah, and if you want more information on that, visit the raise page. All that information that you're looking for is there. And as mentioned, it's there in the discussion board. So if you want to see that full answer, go in and take a look. And then just on top of that, due to SEC guidelines, we can't speak on future looking statements. So if you do have a question around that, unfortunately on this webinar, we cannot answer that. And another question here, Club Renoun sounds like a great idea with new skis and custom service on a regular basis. I have 2 kids, 10 and 12, and we are purchasing new skis every year for them. Have you considered this as a capture point for new customers for both the parents and their kids?
Yeah, no question about that. No question about that. As I talked about the fact that we know who our customers are, we know that they are families with kids and they want to be skiing every weekend. We've talked about and we haven't talked specifically, we haven't designed a specific kid ski, but obviously as they get to their teenage years, they're starting to use more adult skis. And it's a question of having the right length of the skis that we have. I think we err more towards making lengths that that would accommodate younger skiers, as opposed to coming out with a true child ski. But Club Renoun, and again, this is why we want customer feedback, and when we design Club Renoun, we want to accommodate exactly that situation.
Yep. And then, is there a Vibe Stop competitor out there?
There's people who try. The patents we have are pretty good. So people can try to do that, but no, they can't. Some people try to do like vibration mitigation and reduction, and it does work. You can mitigate vibration. It's called metal, and you can make a ski really heavy and really stiff, and you can decrease vibration. Where Vibe Stop is, and this is where, again, like back to like, I haven't done a great job at explaining this stuff historically, and I'm really looking forward to explain this out. But Vibe Stop can change between these different modes essentially. So I kind of say it's like, comfort mode and sport mode and then race mode in a car. And so, yes, have people figure out ways to decrease vibration? No problem. Sure, you can put a bunch of weight in the ski. There's a reason why vibration reduction is illegal in F1, because it works really well. But if you don't want to make a really heavy ski and you want to not be really tired at the end of the day, you got to find other avenues to do that. And that's where Vibe Stop comes in. It's you can't copy us.
So I mean, again, I will emphasize the fact that Renoun holds the on-snow patents for the use of non-Newtonian materials in snow sport equipment, meaning skis, snowboards, etc. I will also say that and this is actually a good data point because a potential investor asked that question when we were early on in the process of doing our due diligence. And I came back to Cyrus and said, hey, Mr. Review says that other skis are higher in the list of anti-vibration. And Cyrus put me right in my place by saying, yeah, go look at the weight of those skis.
Yeah.
They weigh at least 300 grams more than any Renoun ski.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people don't realize is that, yes, you can make a ski not vibrate at all. You'll be skiing down with 2 pieces of concrete on your on the slopes.
Yeah.
But
As a whole, all of our skis are 200 to 500 grams lighter than competitors while still maintaining or even beating them with stability. So it's pretty cool stuff.
and I think that's one reason. The weight is one reason why my legs weren't so tired.
Yep.
And then what is your current manufacturing capacity based on demand? At what point do you need to scale up to a new manufacturing facility?
It's a great question.
So I'm not going to speak specifically to the factory. It's their number to share. It's not mine. But I will say we have plenty of runway for Renoun to scale, both at that factory, and then one of my jobs going forward will be to look at additional factories, which I've already started the process. We already have other ones on the sidelines, because we plan on growing. And like we said previously, if we're in Europe or something like that, it would make sense financially to have a manufacturer in the backyard kind of thing. So
I can tell you because this is not forward looking. This is actual. Part of the uses of the funds that both Renoun Holdings and will come in and the crowdfunding is we actually already ordered more than double the amount of skis that Renoun has ever sold, and we feel very confident that for next year. And we feel confident that the factory can accommodate that kind of pace for a few years. Clearly, as Cyrus said earlier, at some point, and just to protect the business, we need to diversify manufacturing as well. Just because there's a lot of things that can happen, and it's just smart business.
Yeah. And I'm really excited for, like, we are literally building skis right now for next year. I'm really excited for that because historically, basically, I mean, I funded Renoun by washing windows, right? And there was basically only so many windows that I could wash to pay the factory in time to like get the thing going so they could get the skis in time for Christmas. And I'm really excited to be able to not worry about and do that stuff and focus on the product and the brand going.
Yes, it's actually, this is the first time Renowns will be taking delivery of next year's skis at the end of April. So
the first chunks, yeah.
The first time ever.
Yep. The first pallets.
And then curious about the leg/knee fatigue mentioned earlier. Do you find this is due to shock/vibe absorption? And could this be measurable? Seems a big aging demographic. Would love to know more about this.
Yeah. I mean, one, the weight thing. So there's just like less weight on your feet to lug around. So that's an easy one. And then the vibration reduction side of it. I mean, we're not doctors, and I want to be really clear that I'm not claiming this for a fact, but I will say we've had countless customers write in, call in, and really walk in here and tell us this is, and it makes sense, right? Like less vibration, less buzzing. It's going to be less vibration and buzzing going through your joints and your knees. And that's why people are like, like the guy yesterday, right? I forget his name, but he's 76 years old and he's skiing 50 days a year. And he's like, I could not have done that on my old pair of skis. And that's really cool when you hear that stuff. And it absolutely is.
I actually have a very good friend who is a knee surgeon, very well-respected knee surgeon on the East Coast. I think he's done over 500 knee surgeries and replacements, very, very involved in the professional athlete world. And he himself has two partial knee replacements. And he's willing to stand behind this ski. So I thought that was a great testimonial.
And then 2 questions here. One is, what is changing on the Citadel next year? And 2, how do we join the customer advisory panel?
Okay, you can knock me on that.
Oh man, what's changing on Citadel? Well, if I told you, then what's the fun in that? And no one's gonna buy the Citadel we have now. But I will say, the Citadel is the last ski that really came from the early days that when I started Renown. You know, designing skis is really an art form, and it's you can build the best ski, design the best ski by the numbers, and it's going to ski like not good. So as I've learned how to design skis and learned the process of that, I've got a lot better basically. And the Citadel is one of the kind of the last legacy frames that, you know, this ski's in its current state. It's been around for five, 6 seasons. And so I'm really excited to show what's next and kind of what we can do with the learning that I've had, you know, the past 10 years now.
And I will say that the Citadel right now is one of the most popular skis.
That's fair. That's the one that wins all the
people love
awards.
that ski.
So that's the one that the current Citadel is the one that wins all the awards. Everybody loves skiing. It's what our athletes ride on. And that's we're taking that one and we're notching that one up. So yeah, keep an eye out. And in terms of the advisory board, I think we're going to figure out exactly the metrics of getting people in the funnel, but we do need feedback. There's only so much that me and Yasha get done, and we want to bring that into the fold, the feedback into the fold, because you guys are the ones out there actually skiing with these experiences. You know, I kind of joke that I don't really ski anymore because I'm always, you know, I'm working all winter long, and then summers I have a little free time. So I'm really looking forward to having, you know, everybody who's actually skiing the skis and other people's skis and getting feedback. Hey, I was on this other product. What could you do that? Could we pull that into it? And
I want to ask you a question of you too for the webinar folks, Cyrus, because we didn't talk about this in our little deck, but you know, we get accused of being an East Coast ski company. Do you agree with that?
Okay, so really clear to everybody here. We're not an East Coast brand. We're renowned. We're world renowned. Day one, I kid you not, our very first order ever 10 years ago was to a guy in Norway, or maybe Sweden, but yeah, way up there. I really like our athletes taking them to Antarctica, to Norway, we got some athletes right now in Japan, East Coast, West Coast. Like Renown is a worldwide brand. There's a reason why we're called Renown. This is not just a backyard brand, guys. We're way bigger than that.
The other question I get, and I want to be clear about this, I also post this on the discussion board. We are a Vermont company, and we're proud of being a Vermont company. We intend to stay a Vermont company. That doesn't mean we only make an Eastern, East Coast ski.
Yeah, we just happen to know how to ski on ice.
Awesome. And as we're getting here down to the wire, one last question for you guys. If you would, you know, someone who's on the fence of becoming an investor, what are those top 3 to 5 reasons to invest into Renown?
All right, I'll go with 3 for sure. Because, so number one, you know, the ski itself and the technology is proven. And I'm not saying that there aren't other skis out there that are great and are good. There are great skis out there.
Absolutely.
But this ski ranks with the best of them. All right. So and the technology is patented, so it belongs to us. Number 2, no question about it. Our customer acceptance rate and our customer loyalty is second to no ski company, I believe. And that is the model that we're going to develop. And why are we doing that? Because nobody else in the industry is doing that. So we're going to take that role, and we're going to take that position. That in itself allows Renown to really be different than that crowded market space. And that's how that's a basis for growth. And on top of that, having the capital, no debt, and having the kind of balance sheet and profitability, which not a lot of ski companies can say they're profitable. Yeah. That's the right formula to scale. And we believe we can do it, and we believe we can do it in a reasonable amount of time.
Awesome. Well, there were a lot of questions that unfortunately we were not able to get to today. So anyone in the audience, if you have a question for both Rob or Cyrus, you know, please leave it in the discussion board on Net Capital so we could get your questions answered.
And we will absolutely, we will take the time, I assure you, to read every question and do our best to answer it. Might not be by tomorrow, but we will answer it as soon as we can. That's one assurance you have from me.
Yeah, and if you wanted to relive this whole webinar, we will be posting the replay on the Net Capital page, so be on the lookout for that as well. Cyrus, Rob, anything else to add before we sign off today?
Yes, you know, we're incredibly grateful for the response that we've got to this webinar, for the response we've got to the activity on Net Capital. We want to exceed our customers' expectations. We want to exceed our investors' expectations, and most importantly, we want to listen to you.
Yeah, and I would echo that too. Is I'm truly humbled by the response and the outpouring of support that we've already received. And I'm still going through my inbox from 3 weeks ago now of when I sent out the announcement email. And so for everybody who haven't responded to yet, I'm still working, going through it, and it's been genuinely incredible to see. And I had no idea, was not expecting that at all, and it's still pretty cool to see. So thank you everybody for the support that you've shown over the years. Thank you for being here now and taking the time to hear a little bit about what we're talking about Renoun.
And I hope you're excited. I hope we help you think through this, and I hope you come along with us for the journey.
Awesome. Hey guys, hope everyone has a good rest of their day.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.